Welcome to my review for the 2008 release of Prince of Persia, a game which to me feels like a B-rate PS2 platformer at best. And after less than halfway through the game, I felt I got all I was going to get out of it. This game is basically broken up into two styles of gameplay, which both seem very separate and segregated from each other. Which is unfortunate because there are ways they could have blended them a little better, as they have done with previous games. In those two sections are the combat and the platforming, neither of which I was a very big fan of. The combat is all about patience and timing, but it's set up in a way that I just couldn't appreciate. I found the combat was sluggish and clumsy with controls that were unresponsive. About 3/4 through the game, I finally felt like I had a handle on how to be okay at the combat, how to handle those encounters, how to compensate for the controls. But by that time, the fights were feeling so boring and repetitive, it didn't really matter anymore. You do get a new weapon if you compare this game to previous titles, which is the Gauntlet, and that would have been a really nice addition if the combat wasn't so slow and tedious. Controls and control itself was a big part of my dislike for this game. I found a lot of control was taken away, and it was really highlighted in the platforming areas. You don't have to do as much to control the prince, so that really is taking control away. As you progress through the game, you unlock new powers so that you can use these magic pads that are on walls, and they try and mix up what the purpose of them is. But even though there are 4 different powers to unlock, I found 3 of them are just small variations of each other. And they suffer from the same problem as relinquishing control. All you have to do is press the triangle button at the right time. So it's kind of like a QuickTime event, except you always know what the button is. And you don't even have to press it at the right time, which is good because I had trouble figuring out exactly when I was supposed to press it with all the lights swirling around. So really, all I have to do is sit there and just tap away at the triangle button until you're done the sequence of whatever it is happening on the screen. And there are a few points, I gotta say, it is hard to tell what's happening on the screen. I mean, look at this. Look at this. You got this black shadows coming in from the top and bottom and sides. You got all these flecks of things floating around in your face. It just makes it really difficult to see what you're supposed to be doing. Luckily, this is kind of an extreme example, and it's not present for a very long period of time, but it does show kind of how bad it can get. Aside from that, I really don't care about the look of the game. I thought it was fine that they wanted to change the style and do something different. Doing something different is great. Go for it. Just make sure it's also good. A couple other positive things I can say about the game. They do make it fairly easy for you to know where you're supposed to be going in this hub world. They make it easy to get from one section to another with teleport pads, so you don't have to backtrack across the whole kingdom that you're in, because you will be revisiting areas throughout the game. They have a new ceiling run, which is kind of a nice touch. It was something I haven't seen before. And there are a few genuinely interesting switch puzzles. But it's sad when you see these little glimmer of hope and fun and they don't utilize it to their full potential. And if they really wanted to do something different, they could have just called this game the Princess of Persia and leave the prince out of it. I mean, the princess is doing a lot of the work anyway. She can do all the same moves that you can do in the world of platforming, and she helps you do other ones that you can't do without her. She helps you in combat with her magic spells. She's the one that helps you on those wall power pad things. The prince is almost pointless, and it's not as though he even offers a whole lot in terms of dialogue between himself and the princess. Unlike the first Prince of Persia game that I played on PS2, the clever wittiness just isn't there. So I would not recommend this Prince of Persia game. It's not because they try to change things up and move in a different direction and introduce a new storyline with new characters. It's just that it doesn't feel like it's up to the same quality as the other title. This is one of those titles which is probably a good game to the right person, but that wasn't me.